Your trials can train you. It is unlikely that the first bite of the forbidden fruit produced some sort of visible, swirly vapor that suddenly filled Adam and Eve with knowledge. It is more likely that they gorged in an emotional desire with complete abandon of fact and logic, and discovered the fruit did nothing that was implied. It most likely tasted fairly normal to them, as nothing was imperfect at that time. In the end of their feasting, they found themselves weighed, measured, and found wanting. Genesis 3, the eyes of both were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together, and they made themselves loincloths. Who or what has opened their eyes if they were not doing so themselves? It is thus implied when God asks, "Who told you that you're naked?" Verse 11. When they look down, they see their nakedness. They see vulnerability for the first time. Death is operating. Now they know evil. God has been supplanted in their hearts. They see one another as the serpent's fruit, grown in the folly of their own imaginations. 2 Corinthians 10:5. Acutely aware that they are vulnerable, in the fruit of shame, they begin their condescending judgment of the other. In search of a new way to hide, they find fig leaves to cover the most vulnerable parts of themselves. Piece by piece, they disconnect from the other. Naked and unashamed? A notion of the past. The sin nature is rooted into creation in a twisting of God and all that was good. Genesis 3:8-10, we see that innocence is lost. It is shame that flows out of their very essence. The Lord God comes and walks toward the couple, arrayed in his usual goodness and glory. God has not changed. He knows what's happened. It is an image of a relationship that used to be. God calls out to them, "Where are you?" It is not a question of place, but of broken connection. Genesis 3:11-13 is the first tragic blame game. Each one points the finger to the other. Finally, backed into a corner, Adam confesses. He's exposed and naked. Adam knows he's not good, not because of anything God has done, but because of what he did to himself. Ashamed, he becomes afraid. And afraid, he hides from God and Eve. He actively looks to separate himself from the relationships God created for him to enjoy. The consequential fabric of sin and shame is woven into every gene, every generation, and every culture. It is a twisting of that which was good that you were never meant to carry. Shame can appear in every moment. It can appear in every sensation, thought, image, and behavior. It isn't a good thing. Shame is not here to protect you. It inserts itself into verbal and nonverbal cues of society. It judges you. It judges others. It was seeded by Satan to destroy you. It is the instinct that you were born with, and out of it flows every kind of evil. Inherent in the deception of Adam and Eve is your own backstory. It is the primal wound you don't talk about. The serpent's seed planting and spawning in the privacy of your mind. The primal wound is meant to steal your purpose and twist your perspective. Your pain and your trauma ignite the shame wound to destroy the work of God. Like Adam and Eve, people in the world today are estranged from God, carrying a broken sense of self with destructive relationships in a failing environment. The accumulation of these broken relationships ultimately end in varying degrees of poverty spiritual and material. Hunger, insecurity, violence, loneliness, hopelessness all disfigure the image of God. Yet you have been redeemed. You are free. You are not enslaved or impoverished. God has so much joy in calling you to His very own. He trusts you with the work of His Son, Jesus Christ.